Hey, what's going on, guys? You got your boy the VOTARY here, and this video is going to be a bit different. I've never made a video like this, so this video is actually in response to another content creator, one of my good friends. We're talking about RadicalReggie. He just made a video talking about game collecting with your friends, which unfortunately, depending on who it is and the situation, you experience situations where you are actively seeking certain games for your personal collection, whether you want to play it or have it because it has whatever meaning to you and you want it, and you have friends that may want certain things as a flex or find out that that game's expensive or whatever the case may be. But it can get, the waters can get murky is what I'm getting at. So I actually want to touch on that because it actually was a great topic to discuss, and I think it's something that should be brought up in the community. But that also segues into another topic about collecting. A lot of times we may pick up things in our collection that may be more meaningful at one point in our lives versus another point. So there's things that I've accumulated and collected because at the time I was doing that set. So I was just kind of picking up stuff and I wouldn't go out of a budget to get it. If it made sense, I kind of did it. So I have my complete Wii set and I have some big box games. To be honest with you, those big box games don't mean anything to me because I have those games. I can find those games if I sell the big boxes off. They don't have a true meaning to me outside of the fact that I was actively seeking the complete Wii set. I have it, so it's like I don't care. And if I got rid of all of them today, I can go buy those games. Literally looking at them because they're right here on my side, I could probably spend $20 and get all of them back, just the games itself. So that's one thing that I do take heed to. One of the things that I've incorporated in the time of collecting. No, none of us are some collection guru and we have all the answers. But the main thing that I want to point out is that I want all of you guys to be responsible. Don't just spend money. We all got responsibilities, no matter how big or small, where you gauge them. We all got responsibilities. So we don't want to do things that's our hobby and our passion to get into debt and just do things irresponsibly. So a lot of times now, the things I'm looking at what can I get rid of that is not extra or meaningful to me. And truth be told, none of it's meaningful to me. But at the same time, I'm not actively going to get rid of anything here because I love what I have. But there are certain things that I can trade up to lower the cost, if not even better, not pay out of pocket for things that I now feel is more meaningful or more important to add to my collection. I've sold off a lot of things the past couple of years. And the biggest thing I ask myself is, am I going to miss that? Right? So if I'm not going to miss it, it definitely can go. And I know that it's going to bring some kind of value or bring the cost down to something that I'm currently seeking. And let's be honest, we can keep it really simple. I'm going to give you a great example. If let's just say a game's $40, if a game's $40 and you got a game that's CIB that's not important or not that big a deal, honestly, I have a Tony Hawk Ride big box edition with the little skateboard and the dongle, right? CIB. Maybe I'll get $20 trade in for that at East Starland, and that's on the high end because they give great trade value. But that now brings that $40 game down to $30. You mean to tell me if you're sitting in a place and a game's $40 and you can get it for 30 or 25, you're not going to do that? You're absolutely going to do it. You know why? I'm never opening that. I'm never going to play it. Is it going to make a big difference in my collection? It may add some spunk to my complete set. The biggest idea is that set is done. So all that is just extra. So what I'm really considering right now, I'm currently expanding my palette of gaming where I'm actually playing. I want to expound on my content and really get into my experiences with these games and a lot of games that I haven't experienced. I'm not just because I create content, and that goes for everybody. We don't know everything about every game. Everybody has their likes and tastes and whatever they grew up playing. And then, you know, hopefully you, like myself, you get to expound and you're like, you know what? I want to try that. It seems interesting. Let's get to it. One of the biggest things I made a mission to try to just beat as many games as possible this year. I have way too many games to not be completing. Now, the hunt is extremely fun. I love it. Don't get me wrong with that. But at the same time, I need to play a lot of these things. I'm really on that particular mode right now. So yes, I'm doing the Quest DS. That's not going anywhere. I'm also collecting. So I'm collecting everything Nintendo. So let's not get it confused. But I'm doing that. But I also want to spend time playing these games. And what I'm realizing is I want to kind of truly understand people's love and aspiration for JRPG games. So one game that I've recently completed, that was on my list that people speak highly of. That's one of my biggest things. These people speak highly of these series and these franchises. Like, what is it? Especially if I never experienced it. So one of the biggest ones was Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I'm a Nintendo guy. Yes, Final Fantasy started on Nintendo. So yeah, but at the same time, me only collecting Nintendo, I'm a fan of gaming regardless. My channel didn't always just be dedicated to Nintendo like it is. So there are certain things that I'm going to still kind of collect. And 9 times out of 10, they probably got their roots in Nintendo. But needless to say, I've always heard things about Final Fantasy, and I've always heard things about Final Fantasy VII. And one of the games, I quickly played the Final Fantasy VII Remake demo, and that prompted me to go and pick up the game. Later, I beat the game and I'm opting to finish games, and that was an amazing game. I see what the hype was about. I also see where they expounded on it and made it a remake, and it was phenomenal, and it made me want to go and get Rebirth. I'm locked in, which prompted the video from last week where I went to East Orland and I wanted to get all the Final Fantasy games, as many as I could, on Nintendo. And I feel like that's kind of a trade-off. It was a fantastic series, even though it's on the PlayStation. Love the game, love the series. I see what it's about. I'm a Final Fantasy guy. Like, plain and simple. Even if it's, but I also want to get to the roots of RPG. And what I'm realizing with RPGs, it's all about the storyline. And what I want to kind of experience is some of that love and just overall experience that I see people experience when it comes to JRPGs. And I'm also realizing that joy that people experience. That's what I want to feel. I want to be able to completely immerse myself in that character and become that character. And not only that, finish the game. And I'm realizing JRPGs is really truly about the story. It's a long grind and stuff like that, but I'm here for it. So let me get back to my point. Certain things that I have in my collection, despite, other than Mario, like, that ain't going away. I'm never trading anything Mario. Mario's the GOAT, but regardless. Other games like NFL Blitz, CIB on N64, OME Jam, CIB on SNES. Great games, love these games. They goated. I have those 2 arcades. I kept those 2 arcade 1-ups versus everything else. But these may have not great value, but again, it brings that price down. This is at least $40 to $50. So that will actually get me a new Nintendo Switch title right here over things that I know I traded something that didn't matter or wasn't that important to trade up to get these. I can always go back and get these at any time. These will never not be in existence. Not to mention, I already have Blitz on 64. I'm not sure if I remember if I have me Gem or SNES, but I can always get that. It doesn't even matter because the likelihood of me popping this in versus me going over to this arcade is slim enough. So with that being said, is you start to grow as a collector and you start to change, you start to value different things. And I'm really getting into these collector's editions, especially purchasing them after I played the game and I feel, some kind of attachment to it. I'm looking to potentially trade in some of these games that I have. I now am putting more value in what I have. And that was the same thing even with the Wii. Despite what people say, you can look at the Wii, oh, it's a ton of shovelware. But as in totality, it's way more valuable than a ton of shovelware. Because if need be, if I sold it, I guarantee I probably would triple my profit out of what I put out to get these games. But it's more valuable to me as a complete set versus individual games. And you can say what you want. At the end of the day, I'm one of few, probably less than 5-10 people that I know that have a complete set. And it's not a flex or anything like that. And at the same time, it kind of is. Like, I put the grind in to do the research and do all that. But I'm not, it's not this video is about. The video is about growing your collection the way that you want. Don't let anybody convince you that you're doing the wrong thing. You do what you want for you, and you support whatever you feel like you want to do and whatever brings you joy. So right now, I'm truly thinking about taking these 2 games, a few other games that down to East Starland and traded them in, because what I want to do, I actually want to get the Xenoblade Chronicles series. I have a couple on this on the Wii, obviously. I have the Xenoblade X Chronicles on the Wii U, which just had a re-release. So there is 1, 2, and 3. I currently have Xenoblade Chronicles 3 on the Switch. So I need Xenoblade Chronicles 1, the definitive edition, on the Switch. And then I also need Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And then there is a spin-off, I believe it's off of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. And then, of course, they just released Xenoblade Chronicles X definitive edition on the Switch. Not only that, I also went down to East Starland and I noticed that they had Xenoblade Chronicles 2, the special edition big box. I'm really on the big box trip right now. Like, yes, I'm doing my DS, but at the same time, games I love, I'm looking for collector's editions and things of that nature. So that's the goal. So based on Reggie's video, this is a reaction to that, where I totally agree. You collect for what you want to collect for. Be mindful of who you're sharing your thoughts. I want to get Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, the side mission 1, and then also the definitive edition on the Switch, plus the collector's edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 2. The idea is hopefully to not pay nothing out of pocket, but to bring that price tag down to where I can have that complete set. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about the Xenoblade series. All those stories are largely self-contained, and each game in the Xenoblade Chronicles series, the numbered Xenoblade Chronicles games, are linked through the origins of their fictional universe. Dismayed by the state of the Earth, the scientist Claus desired to reboot the world and create a new universe. His co-worker, Galia, attempted to reason with him to prevent the world from collapsing. Ultimately, she failed to change his mind as he initiated the experiment to harness the conduit, an alien artifact that acted as an unlimited energy source and dimensional gateway. This is the process resulted in the formation of the worlds of Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Sometime after the events of Xenoblade Chronicles 1 and 2, the two worlds were on a collision course known as the intersection. Fearing the total oblivion of their respective universes, the people of both worlds communicated and each began the construction of one half of Origin, a structure containing the memories and souls of both worlds to rebirth the collective people and safely reboot the worlds. Origin's AI was corrupted by the fearful desires for security and stability of the digitized souls it contained, which led to the events of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. In the series' fictional chronology, Xenoblade Chronicles is the first game to take place. Its epilogue, Xenoblade Chronicles Future Connected, is set 1 year after the events of the main game. Chronicles 2 takes place in a parallel universe, occurring simultaneously to the events of Xenoblade Chronicles. Its prequel, Chronicles 2 Torna, the Golden Country, is set 500 years before the events of the game. Chronicles 3 takes place as an unspecified amount of time after the previous games and depicts the future of the worlds of Xenoblade Chronicles into. Its downloadable story, Future Redeemed, is a prequel that serves to bridge the stories of Chronicles 3 and the previous games set centuries before Chronicles 3. According to Tetsuya Takahashi, Xenoblade 3 is the conclusion of the story that began with Claus's experiment, but not the end of the series. The Xenoblade Chronicle games do not share any setting directly. Its universe are directly linked except for Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is regarded as a spiritual successor. Two colossal titans known as Bionus and the Mykonos serve as the setting for Xenoblade Chronicles, with the future connected epilogue taking place in a smaller area, the Bionus Shoulder. Xenoblade Chronicles X takes place on an alien planet known as Mirror. Chronicles 2 and its prequel Torna, the Golden Country, takes place in the world of Alras, which contains several titans that house many different nations. Chronicles 3 takes place in the world Aeonis, a large continent made up of areas of Bionus and Alras. To each individual title in the series accessible for newcomers, a new cast of characters is introduced each time. Contrary to the developers' claim of making the game standalone experiences, a few characters have returned as part of the overarching narrative. Shulk and Rex, the main protagonists in Chronicles and Chronicles 2 respectively, reappear for Chronicles 3 DLC campaign Future Redeemed. Similarly, Malia and Antika and Naya return as Queens of Thieves and Agnes in Chronicles 3. There are a few recurring character themes, with no narrative ties to previous games in the series. Much like Sid in the Final Fantasy series, Vandom is a recurring character name who has been in every Chronicles game, even tracing back to its roots in earlier Xeno games. Jack Vandom and Veronica Vandom appeared in Chronicles X, Chronicles 2, and 3 respectively. Vandom also has a version in Chronicles that has renamed Colonel Vanguard is the English localization. The Nopon are a recurring type of creature found in every entry in the series. They are a race of small winged hamster-like creatures, most of whom are known for their greedy and innocent behavior. Each game typically has a Nopon character who is either a playable party member or a travel companion. Another recurring character theme is a creature resembling a gorilla, typically named Territorial Rotbart at or around level 81. Territorial Rotbart, or any other variation of level 81 unique monster, is typically found in an early starting zone who terrorizes the players once encountered. Let's head out right now. Let's go down to East Star Land. It's always a good feeling when I go in there, especially when I'm able to have in my mind what I want and I can go get it. Love that. So let's go down to East Star Land, check it out. All right, so we just got to East Star Land. So locked in on my trades. Getting just some PS games and some other titles that I had. Decided to part ways with this Blitz, and I had 2 copies of this Nintendo World Championship. That's sealed. Like I said, I had 2 copies, so I want to get these games, so I decided to part ways with it. And this NBA Jam. Again, these are things that can be replaced, so take those in there, and we're going to try to secure these Xenoblade Chronicle games, including the special edition. So let's go ahead and see. So this was a success. Got everything, got 116 in trade credit. So I applied that to everything. And I planned on getting the special edition Donkey Kong Air Max. I struck out, so I figured I'd use that money to get all these games and, you know, add to it. So we got the new Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Torn of the Golden Country, Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Standard, Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. Airplane wants to be a jerk. We already have 3 at home, and we had the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Special Edition. This is gorgeous, and I was recommended this series, highly recommended, by the way, by a few people, but most importantly, my boy Ayo Mega. So shout out to him, and thank you for the recommendation. I'm ready to spend the rest of my life trying to play these games. So wish me luck. Thank you for watching. Follow me on all social media platforms at VideoGameVotary.